Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's August 8th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and this is going to wrap it up for the week. No chart lessons on Fridays. Great trading day today. It was a big uptrend. This is a very strong trend. It looked like a real tight trend early, but then we had a little bit of an overshoot, and then we bounced here. And of course, when we started heading lower, you just take a measured distance and move it over, and you can see that turn. And this turns out to be a midline, and looks like this was the actual trend line. It's really hard to say. This could have been one trend and then another one here because there is a little bit of a spike in channel here. You can see, I'll make it a little bigger when we get to it, but we spiked up and you can see it bouncing in between the little brown lines there. And there's really kind of a spike in channel here. I drew it right off those lows originally, but I think this is probably, you'd been better off to play this one like another spiking channel right there, like so. And then the other thing is this would be your first leg up right here, and then you would measure off this pullback right here. There's your major correction. So that's why the line is drawn. I just put it out here so I could get it out of the price action. And so that would be your target. And you can see that's basically, we actually went a little bit higher than that, but that would have been a great target area for you to shoot for a target. But this is a very strong trend. When you start to see it going straight up like this and all these little bitty bars that have stems and they just keep going higher and higher and lots of little stems on both sides, and that's a strong trend. And I guarantee you there'll be a lot of people, they'll be picking tops all the way up. When you see this, notice how this is straight up. The EMA is straight up. We had a little correction right here, but that's usually, if you go higher from there, it's going to be the center of the pattern. And so that's why we're measuring from there up to the measured move. And so that just gives you your target there. But that's generally going to be the center of the pattern. And other than that one little correction, the prices never got below the EMA until we reached that measured move. And even then it bounced off that trend line. And all I did was copy these two lines and just pull it down at equal distance. And notice how we bounced right off of that trend line. You could still throw these short-term ones in there. I showed you this one here, and I believe that's the proper way that one should have been drawn. You get the close, move to a new high, it tries to correct, and then it just picks back up again. So, but let's back out, talk about the trades. And the really neat thing about this move is, you know, you got this spike in channel once, you got it twice, um, you got it several times in here. So 3 times. So you got a lot of that today, a lot of repeat pattern. So keep that in mind as well. But notice most of these big moves that happen at the key entry points, they all would have had runners, just about every one of them. It got a little choppier up here, so maybe not up here late in the day, but most all these early ones would have caught a nice runner, and you could have ridden it for quite a while. But anyway, let's talk about the trades. We were moving up at 7 o'clock hour when I came in, but notice you pull back first entry, pull back right off the trend line. That gives you your third touch, confirms it. That's a second entry long. I like that one. It doesn't really take off, and it comes back again and bounces off that trend line again, gives you another bullish bar. But by that time, you've got a lot of resistance across there. You can see that right there. I didn't pull that line all the way across. So we've tried to go higher multiple times there. We're still inside this trend line, and notice how it looks like a little wedge, and that's what causes a wedge. You've got some resistance here, but the channel is really the main play. And so you might take that one, but I'd probably wait on that one. I'd wait and see if prices, you don't get a little breakout, and notice you push up and pull back. And it actually, you got a double bottom here. It tries to go lower once, twice. That's a failed second entry short. And you got a bullish bar. I'd probably take that one right there. Again, this one I doubt I would add on. I doubt I'd even take it. But there's a lot, you know, with it bouncing right off that key entry point and being that bullish, you may take it. But you're better to wait on the next move up after that failed second entry short. And really you could say, here's your low, first entry, second entry, but it actually makes another little jog down and breaks lower again. But that's the first time it breaks higher is here. So you get the same thing either way you count it, or you could just look at that as a double bottom. And so a new low and then a first, second entry. So it doesn't matter how you counted that one. The entry's still the exact same when it broke one tick above that bar. And then you got a new low there, and you push up, and you get a couple of moves back, and it bounces right off that trend line. And really, this is a two-legged move. You don't see the break here, but this is a hidden second entry. But the main thing is it's off that key entry point, plus it comes back and gives you a test here. You've tested that once, and then you get a test there, and then another test, like a double test. But more importantly, it's off the key entry point, and it's a nice bullish bar. Just go long there. That would have had a runner. Off it goes. And this went into that spiking channel. And you have a failed second entry short there, but you've already come off the high side. And so it's a little risky. You don't really have this spiking channel confirmed yet. You could probably argue for that to be green, but that's a little risky right there. Would have worked, then it comes back and gives you a second entry long here, but look, there's 3 or 4 bars there, and they all look like dojis. And we've already shot over it here. It doesn't mean we couldn't go higher, but it does confirm this trend line. But because there's 3 in a row and they all look very similar to dojis, and it's right into this high, I just didn't think it was worth risking. And then finally we get the break and a move to a new high. And I don't see a setup here. If I'd had a good signal bar, maybe, but no. And then of course it sells off. And where most people make their mistakes on a day like this is they start trying to short this thing, trying to pick a top. This is a strong trend. Even what looks like is an overshoot here, don't be trying to sell this. Wait until you've got a nice confirmed trend with at least a major swing in it. So you might have drawn a trend line here and you might have drawn one there, but with this equal distance here and this bouncing right off of it, I would not be looking for a short. And notice you're working down, you get a close outside a new low. I wouldn't have a problem really going long right there, except it's more of a bearish to a neutral bar. But when it pushes up and comes back, and notice it goes lower there first and then turns and goes out the other side, I like going long on a buy stop because that just kind of confirms that trend line. You get a higher or low right there, and off it goes. And it's another spiking channel. And if you saw this first one, you might consider playing this one up here because it's a repeat pattern. So when you get a failed second entry short, it doesn't come to way up here, but and you've already had a break, so you don't really get a good setup here. And it's when you do kind of get a lower high or a pullback, it's right into that high right there. So even though it's a repeat pattern, I think you're better off not jumping in right up through there. And then of course you got that low, you test it once, you push up, you come back, you test it twice, and then you get a higher low. And so that's definitely a repeat pattern of what we saw earlier, basically here, and really kind of in here as well. But that's a second entry long, double test of that low. It's a failed notice that's a new swing low. It's lower than that little swing there. So first entry, second entry, and I guarantee you people were trying to get short there again. You want to go long right there. And hopefully you recognize all these little bars with dojis and stems. They just keep going higher, not very big pullbacks. Somebody sent me something today and says, but he didn't send a picture or anything. He says, wouldn't you agree that was the mother of all traps? So somewhere he thought it was a big trap and he got trapped. The only place I could assume it might be was here, but he didn't send a picture, so I don't know. But no, I don't. That's the biggest rookie mistake you can make, is trying to short this market when on a trend like this. And somebody else sent me one yesterday or the day before, and they were trying to pick a bottom. Let me just go over there real quick. I think it was, yeah, it was on this. They were trying to pick bottoms down here, and that's too strong of a trend. Don't, once you get a trend that strong, you only want to be selling until you get a break and a new low, and then you might look for a reversal. But then you want a perfect reversal pattern like this right here. Um, but don't be trying to buy this thing going down, trying to pick a bottom, because you're just asking to get burned. So that was yesterday. I got that email. So that's the biggest rookie mistake you can ever make, is on a strong trend to try to pick a top or pick a bottom, because it's a losing strategy, and that's where most people lose. All you had to do was buy today. You couldn't hardly go wrong. There's only one big correction here. None of these other corrections were even worth talking about. Um, this was the only major correction, and you got to figure that if we go higher, start working higher, that may be the center of the pattern. So just keep that in mind. Don't be trying to pick bottoms. But anyway, you get your hour low here. That's another great move. You got a runner going. And notice you got basically a double bottom. This is a little congestion area. So you move up, you get a first entry, there's your second entry, and it confirms that trend line up through there. I like going long again. And this thing may just keep going, especially until you get to a measured move. Then you might slow down a little bit or get a little more concerned. But then we start working sideways again here, and you get a little breakout pullback again right off the trend line. It goes lower, turns, it goes out the other side, go long, and then you get another little breakout pullback. I'm not as crazy about that one, because you're getting close to this high and it's not off the key entry point. You're not to the upper side yet, but this one's a little more risky with a 3-bar matching high and all that kind of stuff. When it went lower, if it had turned and went out the other side, maybe, but once you have 3 and then it makes a 4th bar before it breaks higher, I'd probably skip that one. But this is a strong trend, and you're not going to get any big corrections. You just won't get any. You won't get any, not before you get a measured move anyway. And then notice, once we get a measured move and we push a little bit higher, they probably trapped a few people there. Maybe that's where he was talking about the trap was, but I still wouldn't call that I mean, that's not going to fool a lot of people. The whole idea behind a trap is it fools people into entering in the wrong direction. And I mean, if you're just making rookie mistakes trying to sell this all the way up, well, every single move up here was a trap for you, but it doesn't mean that it's probably trapping a lot of people, because this is as easy as it gets, folks. When you get a trend like this and you see all these little bars and you don't get very many corrections and everything just keeps going higher, just get on with the trend. You can't hardly mess up. You could buy almost, the only place you really might have got stopped out was here and here. Otherwise, it just keeps moving higher and higher and higher, and you can't hardly go wrong. These are the days you got to mop up, and hopefully you catch runners. I mean, you want to try to catch a runner on every move here as well. So, but anyway, you might take that one. I'd probably skip it, and then we're up here and we get into this measured move. It pushes a little higher, and then it corrects back to the trend line. And notice what happens when it hits that key entry point again. It takes off again. And so, and notice you get a break, a move to a new low. If this hadn't been after 2 o'clock, I'd be marking that blue. And on a day like this, when you've just been working higher and higher and higher, you may take that one anyway. That's a good setup. And then notice you get a little higher low here, and it makes another leg up, and then just it goes up. It's still trying to climb even in the after hours. So when you see a trend like that where the EMA is straight up, and the real key, I mean, this doesn't look like a strong trend, but notice how all these, let me back out here and let me show you what this looks like. This is what a really strong, and it'll look the same way going down, but look at all the little bars, stems all over the place, but no real corrections. It just little pullbacks, and then it keeps going, and it just keeps going. And finally you get a come back to the trend line, and it hits the key entry point, and the same thing. You're still getting all those little bars. Look at all these little bars with dojis and lots of stems. That's a strong trend, folks. You got to learn to recognize that. And it doesn't look like it, but just you got to look at all these clues. It's experience. Experience will tell you what to look for. Once you see these a few times, eventually you'll figure it out. Next time you'll know and you'll buy. You just got to buy. You got to buy every pullback to a key entry point. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. That's going to wrap up this week. We'll be back again to do it Monday, but I'm done for today, done for the week. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.